Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Action Construction Equipment Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call, hosted by Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference, please signal an operator by pressing star and then 0 on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Nilesh Bhaiya from Motilal Oswal. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Inba. Welcome everyone to the first quarter FY22 earnings conference call of Action Construction Equipment Limited. Representing the management, we have Mr. Saurabh Agarwal, the Executive Director, Mr. Rajan Luthra, the CFO of the company, and Mr. Vyom Agarwal, the Head IR. May I request the management for the opening remarks on the latest quarter financials, post which we will open the forum for question and answers. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. I am Saurabh Agarwal this side. And welcome everyone to this earnings conference call for discussing the results for this quarter, ended 30th June 21. I do hope that you and your loved ones are keeping safe and getting vaccinated. We at ACE have facilitated vaccination of all our employees and dealer personnel to ensure safety against the pandemic. On behalf of ACE, I would like to express our gratitude to all the frontline workers who have stood up against adversities to help keep others safe. I would also like to thank every member of the ACE family for their relentless commitment and dedication in these difficult and trying times. Along with me in today's earnings con call, we have our CFO, Mr. Rajan Luthra, and our Head of Investor Relations, Mr. Vyom Agarwal. I hope that all of you have had the opportunity to look at company's financial statements and the earnings presentation, which has been circulated and uploaded at the stock exchanges. We started the financial year on back of a strong momentum generated in the second half of last year. Consumer sentiments were improving and the economy was on path to recovery. However, in April 21, COVID struck again with a more virulent and deadlier form in the second wave. The spread of infections was much faster this time, with significantly higher fatalities recorded. The pace of transmission put pressure on the healthcare system across the country. Unlike the national lockdown announced last year, this time around we witnessed regional local lockdowns in order to curtail the rising infections. And as you are aware, historically, first quarter is seasonally slower for our sector, and on top of that, it was further impacted due to COVID-19. So accordingly, sales in April started slowing down considerably, and the month of May was severely impacted, both for sales as well as from supply chain point of view, since a large part of the country was under localized lockdowns. This time, the virus spread into the rural hinterlands. Notwithstanding, this rural continues to remain resilient with a decent start to the monsoon. Urban markets that showed signs of recovery in the last year were also impacted severely, but as the restrictions lifted progressively in the month of June, the demand scenario started to bounce back again. Recovery in the month of June led us to post a decent set of numbers even in adversity. Our numbers are not only better than Q1 of last year, but also reasonably better than second quarter, that is September 2020, in terms of both top line and bottom line. To brief you on the first quarter of FY22, the operational revenues grew by 213% on a year-on-year basis to rupees 324 crores with an EBITDA margin of 10.1%. The EBITDA during the quarter increased to 32.6 crores in comparison to 2.4 crores on a yearly basis. The PBT and net profit grew to 26.24 crores and rupees 19.31 crores against a small loss of 4.3 crores and rupees 4.22 crores during the same period last year. Our current PBT and PAT margins stand at 8.2% and 6% respectively. It is important to note that despite the headwinds, the company achieved its highest ever EBITDA and PAT margin, both in absolute and percentage terms, for the first quarter ever, due to sustained focus on cost efficiencies and better product mix. On the operational side, export sales witnessed a growth of 47% quarter on quarter and a 260% on a year-on-year basis, contributing to 9% of our overall revenue for the quarter. In the crane segment, we reiterated our dominant market leadership position with a year-on-year revenue growth of 346% to rupees 223 crores with a margin of 11.2%. In construction equipment segment, we clocked sales of 37 crores, registering a year-on-year growth of 104%. In metal handling segment, there has been a 330% growth in revenue on a year-on-year basis to rupees 33 crores while maintaining an EBIT margin of 11.6%. In the agri segment too, the company recorded a revenue of rupees 30 crores, which is close to 16% growth on year-on-year basis. In the quarter gone by, we upgraded our cranes and construction equipment to BS4 CEV norms, thereby increasing the fuel efficiencies and environmental friendliness of our machines. This shift towards CEV Stage 4 regime will further help us in opening additional international markets over the years to come. Second wave of COVID has brought into focus the unpredictable times we live in. It tested the resilience of our business, flexibility of our operations, and depth of our financial strength. Our three growth fundamentals, right product, right price, and right after sales and service support, have helped us remain close to our customers. Our customer-oriented approach and deep penetration helped us to navigate the crisis well and come out stronger. Today, our supply chain has become more agile and resilient. We have debottlenecked our production lines, made them more flexible to quickly adapt to the changing requirements should there be a surge in demand. Steel, which is our biggest input material, remained volatile and at elevated levels with further increase in prices during the last quarter. And we continue to look for all levers like savings, judicious and calibrated pricing, whilst maintaining right growth equation to protect our business model. Our focus remains on driving volume-led competitive growth with right balance on pricing. We will continue to dynamically manage our EBITDA margins broadly in the existing range owing to the carnage caused by steel prices and the inflationary pressures. The macro picture suggests that India has taken the second COVID wave in its stride. Looking at the resilience and the spirit of our country, the economic activity has returned by mid-July. We feel that business should start to normalize in the second quarter, and we are looking forward to at least a 15 to 20% growth in business revenue in the current year, which is a slight upgrade from 10 to 15% we had conveyed earlier, with sustained EBITDA margins. We are very hopeful that the cranes and CE market will further bounce back meaningfully post-August on account of receding monsoons and are reasonably sure that the short-term turbulence is already behind us. We are confident about the medium to long-term prospects of the company. We are expecting a growth of 15% in the crane segment for the current year and a 25% growth across our other three business segments, that is construction equipment, metal handling and agri. We hope that we are in a position to revise these projections by end of second quarter, which will predominantly depend upon the progress of current and future COVID waves across the country. With this, I would like to open the call for question and answer sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who has a question may enter star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Raj Mehta from Raj Mehta and Associates. Please go ahead.
Sir, congratulations for the very good set of numbers. Sir, in last quarter, if you remember, I asked the question with respect to your export. Last year export was around 6% and now it went up to 9% in this quarter. You gave us the target to reach 8% for the entire year, and internally you were also aiming to get at 15 to 20%. So what was that trigger that allowed you to grow your export order? Was that the new product which you launched few months back, especially for export market picked up?
So I think it was a combination of two things. Definitely the new products have now been floated in the market and sales have started happening. And apart from that, there was an order, a special order we received from Bangladesh for export of a certain type of crane. which immediately perked it up. But we are very confident that on a whole year basis, we should be able to attain our 7-8% or maybe a little more than that with respect to export contributing to our revenue.
Okay. Sir, but follow up on that is that your margins tend to be higher on export compared to domestic. And you mentioned in your presentation that you achieved highest ever Q1 EBITDA and PAT margin. So when I compare your segment results, you achieve around 11 to 11.5% in your cranes and ME segment, and on CE it was roughly around 5%, and Agri or roughly around 7%. And overall you did a margin of 10%. So then how is that highest ever? Is it, what I'm missing here is that it is for the quarter one, or because your last quarter was around 12.32%, your margin was 12.8, it got degrew by, it came back to 10%. So what is that I'm missing? You said that it is the highest ever EBITDA margin.
Yeah, highest ever EBITDA margin for a quarter one result. So in terms of percentage, our EBITDA margin above 10% and our PBT margin of around 8%, 8.2% is the highest ever margins we have done for quarter one results.
Okay.
In terms of percentage and also in terms of the quantum. So we have never ever before done 32.6 crores in EBITDA profitability ever, and similarly in PBT. So this is our best ever.
So you're giving a guidance of maintaining this 12%, which was there last year, to be maintained in current year also, on an overall basis.
We are trying our level best, and I think it can be anywhere between 11 to 12%, because steel prices and commodity and inflationary pressures are playing havoc. We are definitely trying to neutralize them wherever possible, even by price increases. Even in the end of June, we have done a substantial price increase. So the first came in October, then it came in January, then in April because of steel, but especially because of BS4 transition. And again, we have done a price increase in June. So we are trying to set it off, but steel prices are unabated, and they are still at about 65 rupees a kg with respect to HR. So let's hope if the steel prices sustain at current levels, then definitely doing between let's say 11 to 12% should be possible. Yes, if this continue to increase further, because we have really increased our prices for products in the last 6-8 months. We are already on top. I mean, it's
last quarter also you told that you increased. You were just not increasing because the consumer sentiment was not good at that time. So you increased at the end of the June.
Yeah, the prices have come to such a level that we did face a resistance in the month of July from the customers, because they have significantly increased. We have had 3-4 meaningful price increases in the last 8-9 months. So I think we are on track to do 11.5% for sure. And yes, if steel prices do not play spoil sport, we can be touching 12 or more than that. That time will tell.
Okay. And sir, I would like to appreciate the guidance you gave in last con call, where you said you will degrow by 40 to 50%, and you exactly deliver on that. So my second question is with respect to your thinking to raise equity of 175 crore. So can you mention the reason for the same? Are you been talking, because you have been talking to various investors like Malabar Fund. So is that they want to invest into company and they don't want to buy from open market, and they are requesting you to do QIP?
No, it is not with respect to any particular fund. See, our intention for raising funds from the market is very clear, that we want to cut down on the process of filing time and whatever is required to raise funds, and be ready to hit the market anytime over the next 6 months, 1 year. Because we keep on getting opportunities for inorganic growth, and also to safeguard ourselves a little against the volatility which comes because of COVID, and raise some funds for general corporate purposes. So keeping that in mind, we have, because our AGM was due to be held in early September, so we have gone for this approvals, and we shall be exercising this over the next, when they at an opportune time over the next 1 year, whenever we feel that the price and the opportunity to use the money for growth is right. So accordingly we will, and it's not dependent on any particular fund. That's why we are doing a QIP, please.
Sir, one small recommendation. See, since you have always very good on corporate governance, so I would always request you that whatever meetings you do with various investors, which you often publish in BSE and NSE, if you can record those meetings or phone calls, and provide the link into it so that retail investor like me can understand your business more deeply. So because you do not publish unsensitive information to them, so it will be much more transparent way with your minority shareholders also. So if you can take that as a recommendation.
Yeah, I'm sure Luthra Saab is taking note of what your input is. And Luthra Saab, if the guidelines or if the regulations allow us, we can do it.
And sir, last questions, if I can squeeze in. Sir, your current capacity utilization, if you can provide in all the 4 things.
Obviously, we have been grossly underutilized in the last quarter. So currently, with respect to cranes, we are working, in the last quarter, especially in the month of June, we are working only at about 45-50%. Construction equipment about 30%, metal handling 70-75%, and agriculture about 35 to 40% utilization.
So the same utilization is in Q4 also in material handling and equipment. So you have not, because you gave a guidance in Q4 that you might degrow almost by 50% of your capacity also, but you are almost doing the same in material and agri. So what's that change the outlook?
Equipment is primarily forklifts and warehousing equipment.
Okay.
And for some good reason, we did not see a dip there, because I would say the broader economy or the logistics parts was still continuing to work in the country. And rather, if there is a shortage of labor, so mechanization increases. So I think that's the reason we really did not degrow in our metal handling business.
Excuse me, Mr. Mehta, may we request you to return to the queue, please? There are several participants waiting for their turn.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We would request participants to limit their questions to 2 per participant. We'll take a next question from the line of Sanjay Satpathy from Amazon. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you for taking my question, and congratulations once again for a good set of Q1, because after Q4 result, we felt that you're pretty apprehensive about the outlook. So what I want to know is that compared to the kind of guidance that you had given at the end of Q4, are you in a position to increase guidance now? And the second thing is that that you are obviously present in several segments, and I clearly see you doing much better in the material handling segment. Is there any particular reason which you can ascribe there?
To answer the first part of your question, earlier we were giving a guidance of about 10 to 50% growth in revenue and maintaining EBITDA margins close to between 11 to 12%. Here I can say that still it is a little too early, because we are in middle of monsoons and unfortunately half of the country is flooded. Flooded, when I say there is excess water, and especially all the infra site and construction, and this part of the activity nearly comes to a standstill. But still we feel that we should be able to grow 15 to 20% within this year. It can be faster than that, but the exact guidance, I think middle end of September would be the right thing, or August end, when the monsoons have receded and we can get a much clearer picture. So I would say currently it would stand at 15 to 20% growth for the current year, and EBITDA margins anywhere between 11 to 12%. And if you talk of segment wise, I think we should be looking at a 15% growth in cranes, followed by a 25% growth in all 3 other segments, whether it is metal handling, construction equipment, or your agriculture segment of ours. With respect to MHE, metal handling, I think the business over the years, last 12-13 years, has matured enough that now it has become self-sustaining, and our philosophy of right product, right price, and right service, which is what a customer wants, has played out very well. And I feel that it shall continue to grow with all our efforts and the maturity that has been built up in the business in the last 12 years, ever since inception of this line for us. So that is the thing why it is growing and will continue to grow. Rather, we are continuing to increase our market share here and there in bits and pieces in this business.
So if I can just ask last question, you have announced this fundraising of 175 crore, and it's still not clear exactly what will be the utilization. And also, a couple of months back, promoters had sold some shares to certain funds. So basically, we are not being able to kind of understand what really is the driving factor for this decision.
See, like I said, and I'll be very frank with you, we are very clear of the utilization. It's just that it has not been conveyed in that fashion. Primarily, these funds are going to be used for, some inorganic growth opportunities, which we are already seeing. And obviously, we'll raise funds depending on that opportunity, how it fructifies in future. And maybe some 40-50 crores here and there for general corporate purposes or to retire the debt. That is our aim.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take our next question, we would like to remind participants to ask a question. You may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Nagaraj Rao from Sun Corporate Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Agarwal. And again, I congratulate you on another good quarter. These days, wherever we go in India, we see your equipment in especially cranes and construction equipment. Of course, metal handling and agri are interior, so we cannot see them. I just want to understand now you are in not only construction, but you are into metal handling and agri equipment. Is there any plan to change the name of the company to reflect overall business of the company than construction alone? Number one. Number two, at the moment you are only in Haryana. Any plans to go? I know you told that you have enough capacity at the present location, but still, any other plans to go pan-India into, say, South or somewhere? Thank you.
Yes, with respect to name change, to be very frank with you, we have really not thought about it. Yes, we are called Action Construction Equipment, so that more reflects on cranes construction equipment. And to some extent, I would say MHE can be included in it. But yes, construction equipment is not synonymous with agriculture. But in any case, as a company, we have principally decided that we will subsidize our agri business, take it into a subsidiary. Already we are starting to think on that to bring in more focus in that business and to capture onto the growth potential of that business. With respect to expanding in, our manufacturing or setup to other parts, see, we already have capacities in place and, for whatever revenue we've been doing, nearly double of that we can attain from the capacities. So as of now, there is no such plan in the mind. But yes, I'm sure that when further capacity expansion needs to happen, we would definitely be looking at Central India or South India to save on the logistics costs.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Nilesh Bhaiya from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Sir, I have a couple of questions. The first question is about the gross margins. I think you mentioned in your opening remarks or one of the answer to one of the participants that steel prices and all these commodity prices are moving here and there. So they are issue. You are not. So I just wanted to understand that when you're discussing with your clients, what is the response from the clients that, are you able to pass on the input cost pressure to them or, they are also reluctant to take equipment as of now? How are you looking at the ground level situation as of now?
See, obviously, whenever there is a price increase, there is reluctance. So even when we buy steel and whether it is SR Steel, which is now, I think, ArcelorMittal or Tata Steel or Steel Authority of India, we also offer a lot of resistance when they increase prices abruptly. And because steel is one of our main input material and more or less most of the commodities and similar things have gone up in costing. So our customers also show a lot of resistance with price increase. And like I mentioned earlier, in October, November we increased, then January, then April, and again in the end of June we had to increase. So, and the price increase has been substantial, anywhere between 20 to 30% now, depending on models, also, putting in the BS4 factor, which is substantial. So after the last price increase, yes, we have seen a lot of resistance. And, luckily for the customers, I would say that because July comparatively is a leaner month due to excessive monsoons generally in most of the years. So they also get a breathing time. We also get a breathing time with respect to price to settle in, because we've asked for a price increase, and obviously they also know that their requirement is actually going to be there more or less in August or September. So the resistance and the negotiation in July were very hectic. Customers are not liking it, but all of them understand that it is because of steel.
Yeah.
And so they understand it, but they are not willing to accept it, but eventually they accept it. So I'm very sure it has already started happening in July, in the second half of July, and in August it will be pushed in.
Okay. So taking out the seasonality factor out of the business, do you need to take more price hikes to offset the commodity price inflation, or we have mostly taken the price hikes as of now?
See, with the last price hike, which was close to up to about 8-9%, which we did in the end of June, I think we have taken care of most of everything with steel at the current prices.
Oh.
So with respect to the commodity or inflationary pressure, I don't think we need to take any more price hikes, and just need to push this one in smoothly, which has already started happening, and I'm sure within August it will happen.
Sure. And so one, from a business perspective, and I just don't want near-term answer, but from a 3 to 5 year perspective, I think construction equipment is supposed to be the next big, foray for us, where we can see significant market share gain. That has been my understanding. So, can you share some light how you're reading, the competitive intensity there, and are we on track to gain market share in the construction equipment business? And if you want to give a number, how big that business can be, say 3 year down the line?
In the last 2 to 3 years rather, we have done all the right things in the construction equipment business. And we are projecting growth of around 25% for that segment in the current year for us, but I'm sure it will be faster than that. Construction equipment, rather I feel, would be the fastest out of all the segments. We have positioned our product well, the market acceptance is okay, we are now increasing our penetration and even our network with respect to these machines. So everything seems to be on place. I see that we should be looking at a 40 to 50% CAGR for this over the next 3 to 5 years with respect to construction equipment. So last year we were at 133. This year we should be somewhere around 180, 200 crores, then maybe let's say something close to 280, 300 crores. So hopefully, maybe around in 3 to 5 years, I would say anywhere between 400 to 500 crores from 133 crores is what we are looking at for this business. It can be faster than this, but I think this will happen, what I'm conveying to you. 400 to 500 crores, anywhere between 3 to 5 years. It can happen in 3 years, but definitely in 5 years it will happen. It can be bigger than that.
Okay. And I'm assuming that there's a lot of cross-selling, right? Or your existing customers to whom you sell cranes are the same set of customers that you can, market your construction equipment, right?
There will be reasonable amount of cross-selling between the sales teams as well as customers, yes.
Okay.
That is the advantage we will get.
Sure. Thank you. And then just one last question, if I may squeeze in. So I just wanted to understand from a cost structure perspective, if you can throw some light on how your employee cost is supposed to move in. So I'm assuming that if there's a lot of operating leverage which is there in the business, which if the top line grows, there can be a lot of operating leverage. So if you can throw some light, if you want to build on employee cost, etc., is that an investment that you would need to do in your business, or is it just that operating leverage will be very high?
Not really. See, most of our costs, and obviously employee costs being one of the significant ones, are already in place.
Okay.
So any increase in revenue, which is already envisaged in the current year and going forward at a much faster pace, this is only going to help us in providing us operating leverage and increasing our margins. Eventually, I think we will settle somewhere between 4.5-5% with respect to our employee cost. And if you talk about crane business, we are generally hovering around 3 to 4%. As a company, I think we are close to about 7-8%, if I'm not wrong. So going forward in the next 1.5 years, this is only going to come down to around a 5%, 6%, and add to the operating leverage, because we are already more or less, all the key positions, locations are taken care of, and we really need not be increasing employee cost on any front.
Okay, sure. Thanks. Those were some questions from my side. I'll be back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who has a question may press star and 1. We'll take a next question from the Chandrika Venkatesh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. I am Siddharth, an individual investor. I have 3 or 4 questions for you. My first question is, sales of agri equipment are declining every quarter. We are losing market share. Even in June 2021, our tractor sales were down 25% in volume compared to June 2020 sales. Every other tractor maker showed an increase. We were the only one with a decline. Why are we performing so poorly in agri equipment? Will we meet the guidance of 25% growth in FY22 for agri equipment?
Sir, if you look at the numbers, compare it to last year, there is not a degrowth. There is a 16% growth. And I'm sure by end of this year, as conveyed, about a 25% growth we should be seeing. Okay. This also happened last year, and it will happen this year also, because again, all the lost links are in place. Yes, we did lose a little bit of sales in the last quarter, but that was primarily because you have to see, as compared to other bigger players, our network is smaller with respect to our dealers and locations. And because of COVID, unfortunately, a lot of our network got affected, the selling network in the rural side. But yes, everything is back in place, and then you see the results in this quarter. I mean, this quarter onwards, like it happened last year as well.
Okay. Even for the other tractor makers, COVID was there, but all of them showed an increase in the sales of the number of tractors. We were the only one with a decline. Why did that happen?
Sir, I have explained to you my position, and I really do not know about other companies because we are working for our company. All I know is, let me finish. All I know is we did 16%
in backhoe loader.
So let me just answer that question for you. I mean, if you want to jump, then it is very difficult for me to answer, right? And I want to answer if you want to listen. Do you want to listen?
Targeting sales of 2,000 crores in 2 to 3 years. Is this possible? Competitors like JCB and Tata, why should anyone buy our backhoe loader? Are we targeting the lower end of the backhoe loader market? Have we priced our backhoe loaders target the lower end of the market?
I'm sorry, Mr. Siddharth, I have muted your line. Sir is asking you something. We would request you to just limit your questions, and once a response, maybe you can move out of the question queue.
And the name is Mr. Siddharth, right?
Yes, sir.
Siddharth sir, if you want to make allegations, we are totally open to it. You can definitely call me on my landline separately and we can have a long chat. But we are running our company, we have been running it successfully and we'll continue to run it successfully, and we will grow our businesses, which is evident in the last year and the year before that. So with respect to agri, like I said, we'll grow by about 25%, and construction is going to be faster than that, and we are catering to the entire spectrum, even the higher end, lower end, everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Sured Dev from Paladin Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, and I'm really amazed by your strong guidance. I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned you upped your guidance from 10 to 15% to 15 to 20%. Is that volume guidance or overall revenue guidance?
See, I would put it together. You can consider it as a volume guidance or let's say a revenue guidance. Yes, the prices have increased, so it will pitch in. So it can definitely be, in terms of revenue, be more than what I'm saying. But it will play out through the year. But as of now, I would say that you should consider it to be the revenue guidance.
Right, because I think you mentioned you've taken several price increases and, maybe in the last quarter or maybe these levels sustain. But given the price increases already versus the last year, the base is much higher. So if you're saying 20% volume growth, then of course revenue growth will be much higher than that.
Yes, it's possible, definitely possible, and that's a safety fallback which you have exposed.
Yeah, and the second question I had was that you're planning this fundraise, and if I recall, you mentioned in the past that your utilization levels are still quite low, maybe 50-60%. So you certainly don't need this money to expand your capacity, and therefore inorganic is the primary use for this cash. So are you already in the process? Is something already on the table? How imminent is the transaction?
We have a couple of opportunities, and to be very frank, some keep on cropping up here and there, and we just let them go by. So this time it is that, let us do this activity, let us take the approvals, put them in place as the age was happening, and As we see any of these things fructifying or coming close to it, we will just go ahead and raise money for that. I feel that things should happen in this year. Something should happen.
Okay, and sorry, could you just tell me how much debt do you have on the books at the moment?
See, Luthra, as of now, we are utilizing about 124 crores of short-term borrowings.
That's right, sir.
It was around 31 crores end of March.
Yeah.
So we are utilizing about 100 crores more than what we were utilizing 3 months back. Primarily again because of some working capital requirements which are all because our creditors have gone down by 100 crores and our inventories have gone up by 30-40 crores. Primarily, we didn't want to be starved because we learned from the last COVID wave that there's no point trying to control inventory at this juncture because the sale bounces back.
Right.
We took a conscious call, and that's why our creditors have gone down and our inventory levels are slightly more than what they were because we are a little overstocked, which we wanted to be. Hopefully,
what I was getting at is that, I'm just trying to understand because you've taken the approval for 175 crores of equity raise, but you could fund this acquisition with using debt if you wanted to. So I was just wondering what the logic is.
Okay. We don't like debt. That is the logic.
Okay, fine. Fair enough.
Don't like debt.
Okay, understood. And broadly, you're saying that post-July, you're seeing the recovery.
Clean company, yeah.
I'm sorry, I lost you.
I said that we just want to run a very neat and clean company, and we are very debt averse. So that is the key.
Got it. And you're generally seeing post the second wave, you're seeing the recovery being stronger than you anticipated, which is why you're leaving the guidance up. So basically, if I were to look ahead, organic growth is looking quite good, and you're looking at some inorganic opportunities as well. And if I may, last question on the inorganic, is there any particular segment or any capability or geography that you would like to, close your gap in?
And I'll be very frank, the inorganic we are looking at will primarily maybe not be adding that much to the top line, in comparison, but will definitely help us in the bottom line. So we would be doing it with a different logic, which I'm...
No, but will it be in terms of a capability or product portfolio addition or in terms of a geography, maybe you're not present in a certain area or something like that?
I would refrain from answering that.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Pawandeep Singh from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, sir, I just wanted some clarity about your construction equipment space. You say that we will grow at 30-35%, which is a very good number. But I can see the margins are the lowest in construction equipment space compared to cranes, and recently agri has also turned around along with material handling. So is it a operating leverage play when once our capacity utilization goes up, the margins will also turn around, or it's just a very low margin segment? Because if we are the most bullish in construction equipment, we are currently getting the lowest margins there. So we just needed some clarity on that particular segment.
Yes. See, what has happened in construction equipment, our fixed costs are comparatively higher. So as soon as we start to do a 50 crore quarter revenue, let's say 200 crore on a yearly basis, most of the things will fall in place as the operating leverage kicks in. And at 200 crores plus revenue on a yearly basis, it would be in sync with the 11-12% EBITDA of the company. So it is just that we need some more time, maybe another 1 or 2 quarters to build it up to that level, maybe about 2 quarters.
So exactly. So is my assumption right? It's a fixed cost business, obviously manufacturing. So as and when we improve our capacity utilization, operating leverage will kick in, and in turn better margins. Can we expect like lower double digit on the lines of other segments also?
Yes. Because if you look at our RMC to selling price or the gross margin ratio, it is reasonably similar. So it is just that the numbers in this division have to pick up so that operating leverage kicks in and our profitability improves.
Okay. And sir, one last question, if I have the liberty. With my understanding, the agri business, the non-tractor space has done well. The harvester, and I forgot the other name of the product.
It's mainly harvesters. Rotavators are small, yeah.
Pardon me, sir?
It's mainly harvesters. Yes, rotavators also we have started doing, but that is small quantum. Yes.
So harvester has better margins versus tractors. Am I correct?
Again, if you look at gross margins, I would say similar. And fixed cost for tractors for us is definitely much higher as compared to harvesters. So that is why harvesters being, the numbers, the overall market size being obviously much, smaller as compared to the tractor market size. So there things have started to play out. And in tractors, as soon as, again, similar to construction equipment, as soon as we start to hit more numbers, let's say 50-55 crores, only with tractors on a quarterly basis, again it will go to 12-13%. We did start to do that in the last year when we started doing about 50-55 crores. So it will happen Q2, Q3 onwards, yeah.
So 11-12%, even if harvester, which being a small segment, sub-segment in the agri segment, even if it's not doing well on the and tractors are doing well, can we expect 10-12% on a sustainable basis?
Yes, we can. And if you look at our last year, we were able to attain about a 12%.
Yes. Yeah. I can see that.
Possible. Rather, surprisingly, we did less in cranes as compared to the other two, material handling and agri. And cranes, explainably, primarily because of the steel price, which really hits it hard. And but I'm sure, things. It's a dynamic situation. Something will happen, something will not happen. So man proposes, God disposes. But on the whole, yes, doing a 10-12% on the agri side, we should be able to do it easily.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Before we take our next question, we would like to remind participants to ask a question. You may press star and 1. Our next question is a follow-up from Mr. Nilesh Bhaiya from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity again. So I have a couple of questions. Can you throw some light on the equipment financing, situation as of now in India? I'm assuming that it's an enabler for your business. So, but a lot of because we have seen 2 waves of COVID, and a lot of banks have also reported, NPAs, etc. So I just wanted to understand how is the equipment financing scenario as of now, what we have witnessed in June or July. And are we seeing, improvement on those lines?
See, I would go about a year back. So when the first wave, or let's say the first lockdown happened last year, Q1 and then Q2, it was a little constraint there. Then things started to flow back again very nicely in Q3 and Q4. Q1 again, there was no problem as such. Equipment financing, and rightly as you mentioned, it's an enabler for us. Everything was in place. But somehow, very surprisingly, in July this year, there were few constraints, and the financing was not going through as swiftly or easily as it was happening for the last, I would say, 3 quarters, 4 quarters before that. And I've really not been able to pinpoint a reason, but somehow end of July again it normalized. So there was some lull for 10, 12, 15 days during July, and it did normalize end of July. So as of now, we don't see any constraint with equipment financing, and things seem to be stable and moving ahead here.
Okay. My second question was more on, say, services business or value-added services. A lot of construction, companies are now using GPS and a lot of, automation things for the equipment. Is there an opportunity for you to grow this, to provide such services to the construction equipment, and which can be a very high margin for you? Are you thinking on those lines?
If I talk of automation and these services, fortunately, unfortunately, with respect to GPS, we also source out from some local suppliers who do on a pan-India basis, and the devices come very cheap. I mean, now all of about 4,000-5,000 crores, where you can control or get a lot of data about your machines. We call them telematics. So, all of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, a lot of things can be done on a machine, the GPS location and the fuel consumption, etc. and they run on a 2G, 3G or a 4G chip depending on what device you choose. And a very small 100, 200 bucks rental on a monthly basis. So I don't see it as any opportunity to increase margins because it is minuscule in the entire scheme of things. That's how it is. And secondly, with respect to automation, yes, cranes and equipment are now aggressively or I would say in the use of safe load indicators, electronic devices to control or to prevent the abuse of machines is happening. But that cost of those devices is one time, and it is built in at the time of the sale, if any customer chooses to use it. So I really do not see any margin gain or substantial this thing from these activities as of now.
Sure. Thank you. Those were two questions from my side. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from the line of Nagaraj Rao from Sun Corporate Financial. Please go ahead.
Thanks, ma'am. Mr. Agarwal, you did mention about a little while ago to my one of the questions that you are demerging your agri business. Can you throw some light on that? Number one. Number two, is there any special emphasis for your crane business and construction equipment business are more or less stable and they are in your control? Any special emphasis for material handling and agri equipment from where we feel a lot of growth is going to come? Thank you very much.
I think that our crane business, like you rightly said, and metal handling is growing and it's in perfect order even with respect to margins. Construction equipment, is definitely lacking in terms of margin, which I'm sure it will start to improve in quarter 2 or latest by quarter 3 as the numbers go up and operating leverage kicks in. And with respect to our agri business, and like I mentioned, to bring in more focus and more attention and to drive it independently because the potential of growth here is immense. So we are contemplating moving it into a subsidiary rather than a division, and so that a holistic approach can be there with respect to driving this business with a professional team. So that is what we are contemplating as of now.
What's the brand name of our tractors, Mr. Agarwal?
Yeah, we sell it with the ACE brand name only, ACE.
Okay. Any plans for when you go for some sort of advertising? Because one of the questions that came related to this only, because now we know other tractors, but we do not know our company tractors. Any emphasis on advertising or any going for marketing?
I am sure strategies will come out and play out as soon as we, subsidize this business over the next 6 months, 1 year. And we are, reasonably committed and aggressive with respect to this business, and that's why we'll take out this activity. So yes, with respect to branding, advertising, whatever happens, will happen. I mean, to be very frank with you, I'm not directly involved in that activity, so really I can't answer much more than this at this juncture. But yes, whatever needs to be done to take it forward.
Hello.
Sir, are you still connected?
Yeah, I'm connected actually.
It looks like we've lost the connection for the management. We request you to please hold the line while we rejoin them. Ladies and gentlemen, do not disconnect your lines. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conference operator. We request you to please remain connected while we rejoin the management line. Please do not disconnect. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently waiting. We have the line for the management now reconnected. Over to you, sir. We have the participant. I'll just unmute Mr. Nagaraj Rao's connection.
Yeah.
So, I really regret that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Agarwal, your voice is breaking up, sir.
Okay. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. Yeah. You can go ahead with the question. Hello. Hello.
So maybe we can. We couldn't hear you that clearly, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Just give me a moment, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to remain connected. We'll rejoin Mr. Saurabh Agarwal from a different carrier. Please do not disconnect. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to keep you waiting. We have the line for Mr. Agarwal connected. And Mr. Nagaraj Rao, we request you please repeat your question.
Hello. Yeah, my question was with regard to emphasis on agri-business, because that's where we see a lot of potential. So the measure to compensate. I think we answer.
Yeah. Is there a question pending? If you could repeat it.
You can take probably next question, madam. It's okay. The line is not clear.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll take a next question from Sarika Kuksha, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, you are.
Yeah. So wanted to know the impact of COVID in the first 2 months of this fiscal on the top line and operating margins. If you can quantify that.
If I talk of the month of April, we did definitely lose at least half of the revenue for that month, which should have been averaging around 130 to 140 crores at least. So we did, I think, close to only 60-65 crores. So I would say that we lost half of the revenue of that month. I think April was 90 crores. So we lost about 30-40% revenue in April and half of the revenue in the month of May. So if that wouldn't have happened, I think on the overall top line, we could have easily added another about 80-100 crores in this year. But that loss happened primarily because of COVID. So, and with a gross margin of around 30-32%, so that would have translated very well by the end of this year, but nevertheless.
Right. So considering that scenario, when we talk of the crane business, there is a high potential for it to supersede the growth rates of other divisions, which you actually have in local of 25%. And this year we can easily clock over 30% for that specific division.
For cranes, we are expecting 15%, but I'm sure it totally depends on how it starts to pan out as soon as the monsoons finish. So maybe early September or middle end September would be the right time to just explain the market scenario, what is panning out. But yes, a 15% growth looks evident in the crane sector, and it can only be faster than this. That is what I can say.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was the last question. I now hand the floor back to Mr. Nilesh Paya from Motilal Oswal.
Thank you, Inba. Thanks, Inba. Thank you everyone for your participation. And may I request the management for any closing comments? Over to you, sir. Saurabh, sir.
Yeah. Sorry for the inconvenience. I think the call got disrupted, some technical issues at our end. And like I said in my opening address, I hope that the worst is behind us with respect to the COVID and the second wave that happened. And then things have been improving progressively from June onwards. And so I'm sure they will further improve as soon as the monsoon recedes. So we look forward to a good year, maybe not as good as what we would have envisaged, but a good year with sustained margins. And let's hope and pray that this was the last wave that happened and we do not have to face any third wave. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, members of the management. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.